And then Vaush was like, but you can come onto my show. And Ethan was like, yes. And then Vaush was like, actually, no, I don't want you to come onto my show either. Stiff arms him both times? Wait, so Ethan accepted being on Vaush's show, and then Vaush said, actually, no, I rescind my original invitation? Yes. I offered him to be on our show. He said no because he will lie about me. Then I checked his Insta story, and while he was doing his innocent routine in DMs, he was calling everyone defending me a
there was a whole lot. I felt like I was being gaslit by a bunch of like I'm losing my all goddamn weekend. And I was just thinking about this show on Monday because I had a little bit of a loss of innocence. And I mean that, it sounds silly, but I'm being somewhat serious when I say that, because I did not know that there were so many people that were like CP adjacent. Lollipops, I'm calling them now. Vaush and the Lollipops. Vaush and the Lollipop Guild.
Stroking as hard and fast as we can.
And since then as well, I barely touched on it. We took a long time getting through it because we all were having fun with it. I mean, it's just outrageous, ridiculous. But I feel like as we moved on, we started to understand like, oh, this is actually really sick.
Right.
When we got like a higher resolution, when we actually got to see what was in his folder.
This is sick.
And so since then, there's been a ton of stuff I've seen, man, that is absolutely hair-raising. And I'll tell you this. Yeah, I didn't know there were so many people like that, because not only is Vaush, as I'll continue to show today, how do I put this?
Redacted unironically had a base tweet on this situation. He BTFO'd Lav 2. Man is so funny, but his 100K word manifesto. Oh, what was the tweet?
He seems to have a vested interest in normalizing. And people are going to say that I'm going to explain that, but I'm going to stand behind this. He seems to have a vested interest in normalizing amorous relationships between adults and children. What? And I know that's an insane claim to make, but I feel like when I'm done here, there'll be no other conclusion to draw. That's what and so not only that, which was disturbing and shocking, but the amount of people that were coming to his defense, both fans of ours and some public figures.
It's funny, I read this on the subreddit. Apparently Vaush tried to bait Ethan twice, and Ethan, or not bait him, but he was like doing brinksmanship. I keep forgetting words. I don't know why. I don't think I use these. He was trying to basically, Ethan, I think he asked Ethan if he could call in, and Ethan said yes. And then he said, well, no, I'm not gonna do it on your show. And then Vaush was like, but you can come onto my show. And Ethan was like, yes. And then Vaush was like, actually, no, I don't want you to come onto my show either.
Like Kevin,
oh, it was a bluff. Yeah, I bluffed him twice. He called us both
twice, came out against me.
Cheers, my horse. Love ya. No pedo.
Yeah. And Tipster was lovely enough to provide us with the new rendition, which we'll watch. We have so much to watch. I'm telling you, Dan.
2024 season Tipster, dude.
Dan was like, should we talk about the Super Bowl? I says, dude, I have so much. The Super Bowl.
We got Super Bowl. We got Bevo updates. Unbelievable.
Well, those are all, I mean, Bevo can wait. He's going to have, there's always something happening in Bevo's world.
Get the fuck out.
That is true.
The Super Bowl was cool. I mean, good. You know what I mean? They won. It was a plan. It was all. You know.
Isn't that a distinction without a difference, though, for why Sadat was killed? Making peace made him a Western puppet. Well, I think historically Egypt had always been trying to balance the superpowers between like playing off of the Soviet and the American interest for Egypt and for influence in the Middle East. Although eventually Egypt kind of cucked out to the Soviet Union, but Egypt mega cucked out to America.
Usher's laid.
Like America basically bought Egypt into that
I don't know why
peace deal.
Usher. And then he came on and I was loving it.
He's a freak. He hasn't aged.
It's bizarre.
He was great.
He was great, right?
There was a lot of Usher hate, so I was happy. I felt redeemed.
I thought the show itself was good. The audio had some serious fucking problems.
Ooh, called out.
Zach and I were talking about it this morning. We were far from the only people who noticed it. It was getting a lot of criticism. Did you know, right when he started his halftime show, his mic cut. The audio guy was slow to bring his mic up.
I'll be honest,
I missed the cue.
I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, we
you have one job, dude.
Too close.
I was eating ice cream or something.
What really blew me away was that performer, her, when she did that solo, she's a
That's not true. In 60 to 73, Egypt literally had Soviet pilots and stamp operators in the Suez. They were a puppet for them until they flipped. Yeah, but Nasser, I think originally was trying not to. I think before this, like around the Suez crisis time, he wasn't bought by the Soviets yet. It wasn't until after the Suez crisis where he got fucked very quickly by Israel. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
I dig her.
I didn't know her.
Dig her.
It's great. I was her.
I don't know who her is.
I was devastated.
But we love her apparently.
We love her.
We do.
We love her.
But I don't know. Did you guys have a good time? We had a party. Dude.
How do you feel to do canvassing with Progressive Victory this year instead of going solo? I have so much to say about this. I have a lot of stuff to talk about that we need to catch up on. I don't know if we should be watching this right now.
Crazy on the snacks yesterday. That's
what
it's all about. Onion dip, nacho cheese dip, pizza, ice cream sandwiches, pops.
Damn, what the fuck?
Ice cream cones, cookies. It was like such a disastrous day for me.
Ian and I went a little crazy on the Jello shots. We did a little drinking game where every time they cut to Taylor Swift, we took a Jello shot.
Oh, how many did you guys end up shooting back?
We finished the whole tray.
So you lost out.
Ian, was it like 13?
Bro, I can't believe can't believe that Vaush is f***ing his shit up. Vaush, who's been locked into a fortress for so long, finally has a chance to bridge out a little bit. Now, I admit that the maneuvering on this has to be done very carefully because you're being invited on to argue whether or not you're a pedophile, okay? But he has the opportunity to do it, and instead he stiff arms him both times. Wait, so Ethan accepted being on Vaush's show, and then Vaush said, actually, no, I rescind my original invitation? Yes. I offered him to be on our show. He said no because he will lie about me. Then he said, you can come on my show if you want to talk about it. He claims I'm only doing this for views and that our live from Friday had huge numbers. In actuality, we had a very typical amount of viewers. 3, I immediately accepted, asking him what's the difference, a question he did not answer. 4, he said he won't ever believe that I'm not knowingly lying about him and rescinded his offer. It's kind of funny. Vaush is acting in a very roundabout way, like Mr. Girl. I don't want to talk to you because I know you're lying about me. And I know that and it makes me so upset that you're lying about me that I'm never gonna have a conversation with you. And it makes me so angry that I know you're lying about me. Like, I rescinded the invitation for Ethan to talk on my stream because after doing a completely unprompted, vile, dishonest character assassination for 2 hours, he was playing dumb in DMs, saying he was surprised I thought he acted in bad faith and wanted me on his stream to provide my opinion if he cared about my opinion when he reached out before the character assassination. What? Then I checked his Insta story, and while he was doing his innocent routine in DMs, he was calling everyone defending me a pedo, photoshopping pics of me in a jacket that said pedo, shit like that. Absolutely dishonest snake, not an ounce of desire for truth in that guy.
Vaush and his supporters will tell you the following things. It's out of context. All the clips of him, it wasn't. We looked at the context.
Listen, all I'm going to say about this is there are things that I could say. Why am I getting noise from somewhere? Hello? There are things that I could say, but good luck. Figure your shit out. There might be ways to defend his statements, but you know what? He can do that on his own. Good luck.
Looks like her.
Delete the
Nagatoro,
lolly,
yeah, that's probably her
Vaush!
name. This
Delete the
girl looks like
lolly!
she's in middle school.
No!
I mean, I know that anime has an abstracted art.
No! Vaush!
Oh, God. Every time Vaush is climbing and he runs into another drama. What would you do in Vaush's shoes? What'd I do? I mean, I use 2 computers, so I would never get caught with that. I don't know, man. The problem is that like leaking lolicon porn and then being known as like the pedo defender guy in like the political space is that's a rough one. Whew. That's a rough one. Dear Vaushvi, it's tempting to lie about one's sexuality in an effort to prove a total absence of hypocrisy, even the animalistic recesses of one's brain. Isn't it? Do I care about this? This, of course, what has enraged people at my cuties review for 3 years now. If I say the girls looked hot, and yet I say this is not a moral stance, I will pull everyone's skirt up to reveal that none of us gets to choose what turns us on.
Is this consideration?
I will say, remember, hey, remember. I did predict that Vaush would get caught with Lolly or CP or whatever before Mr. Girl, so get
in line with your desire to empathize with pedophiles, or is it something more personal than that? In retrospect, looking at it,
Jesus.
knowing now that that artist is a lolicon, yeah, I can see it. When I looked at it, I think the vibe that I got was like short stack, thick kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like the way like goblins get drawn in porn.
Like the way
Sorry, I knew it was censored
like
from the beginning.
goblins get drawn in porn.
All right, if you all get any
Why did he say that? I didn't hear where the actual goblin clip came from.
kind of thing, you know what I mean? Like the way like goblins get drawn in porn.
Like the way like goblins get drawn in porn.
All right, if you all get any Discord DMs from a Mr. Girl, I strongly suggest you screen those.
You sound like a pedophile.
Poor Vaush. His response is kind of crazy. I didn't hear the whole response. If somebody wants to link me the response, I'll listen to it. Because that's got to be like, for him to respond that exact same day, his blood pressure must have been through the roof. And he was like worried about fumbling on another huge internet drama. Oh, man. Anyone who plans to vote for more Ukraine funding should join us tonight to make the best case for it. Make clear what exactly the next 61 billion will do that the first 100 billion didn't. We need more open dialogue outside of our echo chamber. We'll do it in a civil manner. 6 p.m. ET. fuck that. God, I can't believe Mike Spam turned into such a anti-fan. Not to be rude to Hassan, but Destiny's out physically canvassing to prevent another Republican presidency, and as someone who lives in a red state and almost died from an abortion during the repeal of Roe v. Wade, the presidency does actually mean life or death for me. He's canvassing a bad list in Ohio, and has said repeatedly it's a vanity project to improve his image. Let's be honest about what's happening here. I think Mike Spam cut off all of his connections from our community because he wanted to get into serious political work. Has that manifested yet? Who is this? Oh. Mike Spam? Legendary DGGer.
If anybody agrees with me, bro, as a man who is a citizen of the United States of America, I don't want the president tweeting out memes where he has these red lasers in his eyes. Meanwhile, we got things just happening.
Okay, this is a totally fair take from Nadeshot. If you can show me if he's ever made a single critical tweet about Trump's divisive rhetoric. Can anybody link me one in any of my chats? Has Nadeshot ever made a comment about Trump's divisive rhetoric? Just curious. I'm just curious if he made a single one. Because we did make them. I'm like, oh, okay, sure. He just doesn't like divisive rhetoric. I'm just so curious.
Happening all over the world. I want a strong leader who's not farming impressions on Twitter in a very pivotal time for our country, bro. Like, I want to know this motherfucker behind closed doors working his ass off to make the country better, not farming Super Bowl impressions. That's it. I just want to get that out of the way. That's his interns. My point is, brother, that office has a million other things to worry about right now than farming impressions on Twitter.
Do you really think it's Biden that's like drawing the pictures and running the Twitter account? Like, how naive? Like, I don't even know if he runs his own Twitter account. Nadeshot, when he was working for, what name was this? I don't even know if some of these pro gamers are running their own social media accounts. Why do you think the president does? Yeah, he might now, but like when they were part of their teams and doing all that shit, like, I don't know. Optic?
Hey, Vaush, I heard your child slavery tunnels got discovered and put on blast. Yeah, it's the underground, like, what's the term for an underage horse? Kid? It's a goat. Foal? Is it foal? F-O-A-L? Right?
Oh, we tried to meme through it?
Foal? Okay, gotcha. I hope you choose violence this time. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I know that I'm well loved for my firebrand personality, but to be honest, it's just pretty sad. For those of you who don't know, Ethan Klein and his friends over in the H3 pod dedicated about 2 hours of the podcast to doing like the platonic ideal of a bad faith Vaush is a pedophile takedown, including like everything.
I will say, watching Vaush talk about bad faith, who constantly does the most bad faith summaries and attacks and shit, is pretty funny.
5 years ago, like stuff that's been addressed so long that, I mean, I didn't see it. I saw people in my Discord talk about it. I didn't want to watch it myself, partly because it would just make me upset, and partly because I was getting a haircut at the time. But like, it wasn't even like anything temporal. It was literally just like, fuck this guy. My understanding is that they were even doing like the Tacoma wept jokes and pretending that the Tacoma wept thing wasn't a joke. Like
it's always a joke until it is.
The thing that people pretend to do where they see an obvious joke and act like I'm being serious as a way of implying that it's you know, like.
Do we think Vaush is an actual pedophile though? I don't know. I don't really see any reason why I should have to give my opinion on it.
Or whatever. So if it's reached that level of like indiscriminate shit talking and smearing, then it's obviously not any kind of like pointed criticism. So with that in mind, like, what do I even, what do I do? The 89th debunk on this? It's nonsense. It's mostly just really saddening because I thought that Ethan Klein and I were on good terms, which I know he made fun of. I think at some point he was like, as if I would ever be friends with this pedophile, which is really disingenuous because the last time we talked on Twitter DMs, he was really friendly to me. Back when I had a channel strike, he talked with me about offering to give me access to his content manager on YouTube so that I could deal with the strike better. And just a little while ago when he was going through the rounds because he was doing like weird arguments with Hassan about Zionism or whatever.
Wait. Is he, so me and Vaush were never friends, right? Didn't Vaush say that when I did my big manifesto? He's like, I was never friends with Destiny. Why would he even think that? But he was friends with Ethan because Ethan offered him help with a YouTube strike? Is that what I'm hearing right now?
With me about offering to give me access to his content manager on YouTube so that I could deal with the strike better. And just a little while ago when he was going through the rounds because he was doing like weird arguments with Hassan about Zionism or whatever, he didn't like a tweet that I had liked. So he reached out to me and asked me about it. We talked for a bit and I disagreed with him, but eventually I moved over and said, oh, okay, and I unliked the tweet at his request. So like every engagement I've ever had with him has been like mutually respectful, and then like randomly this. So yeah, I don't know. People accuse me of not being willing to reach out to people, but holy shit, can you understand why now? Can you understand like why I'm not great at reaching out to people? Holy shit. There's almost always going to be more of a social impetus to turn.
This is why I'm a lone wolf. This is why I don't have friends. They can't handle me. If you can't handle me at my lolly horse porn hentai, you don't deserve me at my fortress debater commander.
On me than there will be to like be decent to me, you know?
The funniest thing too is, yeah, Destiny, if he had that on his recent list, imagine what else he had downloaded. I'm calling on Russia to release the 30,000 downloads.
Do you think you can call in and talk it over with them? Maybe this is your ticket. Nah, well, I mean, if they want me to go on, I will, you know. But with stuff like this, with like after a 2-hour well-poisoning, bad faith pedo accusation thing that could have been dispelled by watching any of the innumerable times I've talked about it, it's very obvious that the effort is not to have any kind of like fair dialogue, but rather just to tear me down. I don't mind Ethan covering drama or even not being like aware of everything that I've said, but the degree of bad faith there was like past the point of it being perceptibly mendable, I feel, which I don't know. It's very...
At Destiny, you're petty. Just tell the truth regardless of personal bias. Otherwise, you undermine your own credibility. I think I've extended an ungodly amount of credibility and charitability to Vaush over and over the years. And he was even bad faith to me in this particular situation. He tweeted out that the reason why I wasn't defending him was because he didn't bend the knee to me. Does he think I wanted him to bend the knee? I just wanted him to stop engaging in the very same bad faith attacks that he's now accusing other people of engaging in him with. Vaush being a or not is not relevant to any of the political commentary I do. At the end of the day, I don't really give a who wants to jerk it to lolly horse porn and their goblins. You know, that's his business. Whether he is or isn't a pedophile, there's no reason why I have to enter my opinion into the ring of public opinion on that. You guys can figure that shit out if you want. If he wanted my opinion, or if he cared about my opinion, or if he cared about any of the reputation I'd stake on my opinion, maybe he should have thought of about that before constantly bad faithing me over and over and over and over again.
Very, very saddening.
Like, all of this, like, this is the evolution of his life. It's all led here. What, like, last weekend, or, well, 2 days ago, yeah, like, over this last weekend, he could have been in Ohio talking to the youngest congressman ever elected. He could have been Maxwell Frost, right? He could have been talking to Tim Ryan. He could have been talking to city council people. He could have been at the canvassing event. He could have been debating. There's a million things, but he wasn't. He was at home instead leaking his lolly porn because the organization that I gritted my teeth and agreed to work with him on, he decided to spitefully, you know, toss to the wind because he's too much of an autistic, lazy fuck to actually do any real political action. So instead, he'll sit here and he'll reap the fruits of his labor, which is, I guess, being hated by the entirety of the fucking internet and then victimizing himself and his community while pretending there's absolutely nothing he could have done differently the entire time.
They said to DM the podcast Twitter account if you want to. I tweeted, I'm fair to go on, and they on their thing said not today, which obviously doing it in a subsequent day, kind of like, you know, like the damage is done, but Why is it a recurring thing that you get accused of? Well, for the most part, I think it's just because people hate me. Unfortunately, social bias is a very like inertial process where the more, you all remember this probably from high school, or if you're in high school, you know it now.
Like, think about all the bridges he's burned. I'm one of the most forgiving people ever, and he's completely burned that bridge to the ground. I'm one of the only like left-leaning content creators that would have done content with him. Why did he burn the bridge with the Young Turks? He really needed to call Anna Kasparian a bitch? That was essential? Where is the YouTube video on that? I know it was important to call. I know it was important to be misogynistic towards J.K. Rowling. He had to call Anna Kasparian a bitch too. Why? Like he's just like destroyed so many bridges, and not even for like good reasons. Like I could understand some principled reasons for doing it, or like listen, I'm all here. I'm all for a big bridge burning. Okay, I totally support that. But like they weren't even good bridge burnings. There's a reason why he lost audience massively every single time he got involved in these fights. Well, actually, with one of the Anna Kasparian fights he didn't, because she was fighting against an anti-jerk wave at the moment, but.
Which is people who are disliked because they're disliked because they're disliked. There's clout in disavowing people who are already disliked. So if you benefit from disliking people who are disliked, and so on, right? I don't really think there's another explanation because this was like a fully prepared hit piece, not even some kind of like organic disagreement or upsetness or whatever. One of the things that they did, which, and by the way, I'm hearing this secondhand. So I admit if I'm wrong, then that's on me. I don't want to watch it, honestly. It would just upset me. But they acted as though the whole horse thing was some kind of like secret that I'm trying to play off as a joke. Like they were like, we found out like he really does like horse dicks or whatever, which to construct that impression, you would need to be willfully dishonest I have emotes making fun of it. Like that is a level of willful dishonesty that I think it's stuff like that, you know, because it means there's no real sincere effort at I don't know, engaging with or uncovering any kind of drama. It's just an effort at like character assassination. Are you going to watch it on stream? No. To my understanding, and again, tell me if I'm wrong, they didn't say anything that hasn't been said to me before by like Twitter Nazis or whatever. Most of the stuff they said was in content indistinguishable from the most obviously hateful bad faith stuff that I've seen, which means it's already addressed. There are videos on it, you know? That's one of the things that always gets me about stuff like this, is that I've never been one to hide controversy, right? I have done and said, like, I would say fairly sussy stuff in the time that I've been streaming, you know? I have no filter, not to like blame autism or whatever, but clearly like, you know, the way I decide to communicate my intentions and beliefs sometimes differs from what people would prefer I do. Whatever, right? And I'm a...
Autism is never an excuse for what Vaush does. Vaush has incredible social awareness. Vaush crafts and constructs all of his messages with incredible intent and purpose. Vaush completely understands how people react to the things he says. He's very intentional. He's very rhetorically talented in terms of what he does. A man like this can never use autism as an excuse for making so many enemies. This is not an autistic trait. This is an intellectual or social deficiency, not one rooted in mental illness, but one rooted in narcissism and arrogance.
Wacky guy. You know, it is known. So I've said stuff, the initial clips where I was comparing child pornography and child slavery, like, you know, work exploitation, I don't think it's wrong for a person to look at that and go, huh, that's pretty suspicious. And for that reason, I've always tried to be upfront or like clear. If people have an issue with what I've done or said, I always want there to be a video that I can point to, you know? Like, hey, I understand that this looks bad. There you go. Like here,
I wonder why he doesn't cover videos of people when he, you know, attacks him so much and instead just quotes other things. Even with H3H3, is he actually going to show any of their video against him, or is he just going to quote it or talk about what he heard them say about it?
Talk about it extensively. The Thought Slime Meltdown stream, you know, there you go. I talk about it extensively. But usually when hit pieces like this are done on me, there's an effort to make it seem as though I hide everything. You know what I mean? Like all of this is like a deep dive or secret information that has been uncovered that's never been addressed before because I don't want you to see it. And it reminds me very much of the like, I don't know, like Alex Jones, they don't want you to know this thing. It's just like, it's conspiracism for the purpose of making me
he said he hadn't even watched it?
Be more sinister than I am, you know? I'm a moderate amount of sinister. I don't think it's, you know, I don't think it's broadly, I don't think it goes that far. How does Destiny not get anywhere near as much hate as you despite being just as unhinged as you? Well, for just as unhinged as me, honestly. You try to sneak that in, it's because of his good looks and charm. You know, I don't know what to say.
I like how he doesn't even engage in any analysis there whatsoever. That's really funny. What, will he? Maybe he will. Hold on. Oh, no, he's scanning chat for something else to respond to.
You should really watch the segment. They didn't just watch the out-of-context clips. They watched some of the explanations, too. No. Oh, Pigeon. Jesus.
Oh, and he's doing the simulacrum thing. He's not going to watch it. He hasn't even watched it. That's right. No, he has watched it, by the way. That's a lie. He absolutely has watched at least parts of what was said about him. No shot that he didn't. And now he's responding to it in the way that he thinks is the most effective. But it's funny that he'll say publicly that he hasn't watched it. So he's like literally fulfilling the simulacrum meme that I pointed out, where Vaush will misquote things, make that part of the record, refer to it back at a later point in time in order to instantiate some fake event that never happened into your mind to think that you're recalling a time when you saw it, but you're actually just remembering Vaush talking about a thing that never happened.
Across the desk. No, I've done this so many times. Like it's been 5 years, guys. 5 years I've done this. And every time it's the same thing. Every time things go down this road, it's always the same collection of like really aggressively bad faith, obviously dishonest. You know, I think at one point, I saw this in the Discord, somebody said that Ethan said that I had like a folder full of CP or something. What the fuck? Like, what am I, like, what is there to respond to when that's the level? Like, that's the degree of, you know what I mean? Like, it's tiring. People want me to engage with the drama, and I understand your desire to see me constantly beefing, but this isn't a subject that I find particularly gratifying to constantly have to debate over, you know? Especially when everything is, as far as I'm concerned, a fairly well-explained and settled issue. It's all been discussed, it's all been deliberated. The only reason a person would decide to make a hit piece on me, especially Ethan Klein, not like just randomly entering in, we've talked, is if things were past discussion. It is just now convenient to hate me. So...
I mean, it's always been convenient. It's been convenient to hate Vaush for like years, right?
Keemstar said the whole folder full of CP things. It's Keemstar. Who cares? It's Keemstar. Wow, who cares? Keemstar. Okay, I don't give a fuck. Ethan Klein. Different people. Again, different people. My God, I can blur out the disingenuous nonsense from communities that I expect this from. This is one of the reasons why bullying from other people on the left is different and feels different to everyone. I mean, not just me. Than like getting attacked from people on the right. If you are, I don't know, a random left-leaning person and some right-wingers say mean stuff about you, it's very easy to write that off because you can go, well, okay, of course, like obviously, other side of the culture war. But with if it's from within the left, there's like a pretense of good faith and fair play that they can use to exploit your, you know, your vulnerabilities to an extent.
Wow.
So to that, you know, to that end, like obviously it's going to hurt more coming from Ethan Klein, but I guess it's a mistake that I can only make once with him. What if it's...
Okay. Fuck this. Let me start real quick and then we'll do real stuff. Oh, this is my older... How long ago was this, How long ago did I write this? Simulactony. I want to describe one of the big processes in which people come to believe things about me that aren't true. For lack of a clever name, I'll call this the DLC, or the Destiny Lie Cycle, that Ian continually takes part in. 1. A false claim about me is made, or a statement about something I've said with no proof or reference. Oftentimes, this might be a chatter saying, "Hey Vaush, did you hear when Destiny said XYZ?" or a tweet claiming I've said or done something. 2. A character explanation will be given for why I've done the thing I did not do. A. Of course Destiny said this. It's because he's transphobic, /arrogant, /racist, /sociopathic, etc. ... 3. This claim will echo and reverberate throughout the community. 3A. Ian's community will listen to, agree with, and repeat back his characterization of me as they discuss why I am the kind of person who would do the thing that I did not actually do. And then 4. This new demonic caricature will become the reference for future attacks. 4A. Remember when Destiny said XYZ, guys? Where the thing being remembered is not actually the thing I've said or done, but the initial false claim, a copy without a reference, or a simulacrum, if you will. And then I list a bunch of examples in here. He totally does this. He was doing it to Ethan, or yeah, Ethan as well. Isn't this shorthand for your webbing thing? No, I don't think it's just webbing. I think this is a particular type of character assassination. It's in 2020 of April.
Please. It is possible. Please, please, right now, uncuck your dumb shit libcuck SJW brains and recognize this empirically correct fact that I am about to spit. It is possible for an adult and a child to have a sexual relationship and for it to have positive outcomes on the child as well. It is possible. Please, please.
Oh, man. Damn, that 23-second cut clip. Oof. Huh. What a clip. Random guy at Iron Forge Gym.
All right. Stop lying to me.
Huh?
Stop lying to me.
I'm not.
What you mean, dog? I'm sexy as fuck. I mean, that's my girl, man. Okay. You gotta get your game up. You get one too, dog. I mean, she might be right there in front of me. I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think you got the guts to do it, to be honest.
To do what?
To approach her? I just don't think you got the guts, and she definitely isn't interested in your goofy ass.
She's interested in me. I don't think I am.
It's called intuition, right?
I think you're doing yourself a favor by saying that, but I don't think somebody...
It's called creep, leave her alone. That's what it's called. I mean, no, it's just introducing myself. That's it. But I'm just saying, you're not that nigga. That's all I'm saying. I am. I definitely am. No, you're not.
All right, do your workout.
Okay, then.
I don't know what you...
This guy got caught being a creep and got kicked out, but then snuck around and stayed for like 5 hours, waited to go yell at him.
Okay, then what's up?
What?
Hey, what are you trying to say? What's up?
I'm trying to say that I'm that nigga.
Yeah, okay.
Bro.
You make yourself look so fucking stupid.
Oh, yeah?
Is that Darius?
Yes.
What are you making yourself look like that?
Yeah, man.
Then reverse the roles then. What if I had a spreadsheet
Reverse the roles.
of like girls I've been with, their performance, like the shape and like where on the thing and like boob shape and everything around it and whatnot. It's just weird. Like, oh yeah, that was like a battle scar.
Any opinion on Piker's mom being a landlord? What, on Hassan Piker's mom being an actual landlord, or on his dad being a like wealthy multi-100 millionaire that belongs to a huge company, or his uncle running a media company, or him being that Hassan Piker?
Yes. Like, that was like super pepperoni salami. Like, what the f? Like grip tier, grip reaper. Like,
Grip Reaper.
What? What? I didn't say anything wrong. Then okay, then reverse the roles then. What if I had a spreadsheet?
You read from Cutie about the Streamer Awards? Man, I don't think I can say anything publicly, but I saw the advertising prices that they're charging And yeah, it's no surprise that they're having trouble finding sponsors. Holy shit. But hey, what do I know? I would have done it for the meme. And I'm willing to meme with a lot of money. But that shit was way too pricey. In my opinion. But what do I know? Good morning, Swifties. Fearless by Taylor Swift had sold more albums than the whole Kanye West discography before the VMAs happened. Or VMAs. Your ugly newborn daughter is going to be raped when she's older. Worry about that ugly bitch. Wait. 20,000 views. Oh, 8 likes. Okay. I hope your baby dies. Hope you have a miscarriage. Your baby has Down syndrome. You're going to have a miscarriage. Sent from my iPhone. Ho, don't speak on Taylor again. Michaela's so good at triggering huge fan bases. She got the K-stars, or the K-pop people as well. I need to learn her skills. Did you see Ziana's take on this? Could I guess Ziana's take on this? What's my take on this? I would say from a theory level, this is bad because you're not actually understanding the music that you're reading, which is not good. It's not communicating to you any kind of structure. On a second part, anything more complicated is going to be very difficult to play. Like run 16 30-second notes, syncopated rhythms are going to be very hard to tell on this. 2, 3. Probably develops bad habits of. Do you normally look at a keyboard when you're playing music? I think I do. I don't know if you're supposed to, because you're reading music. Do you have to? I need to. No. No. It's a C. F. Oh fuck, I was wrong on this one. I probably do look at the keyboard. But I think that's a bad habit. I don't think you should. Do people normally? This is A flat. This is C. No, that's completely wrong. Oh, it's on this side. Do you look at the keyboard when you play? Fuck, I don't actually know. Where is Ziana? Do you look at the piano when you play? Let's just watch, I guess. They probably do, because they probably have their pieces memorized, so they are looking at the piano. If the jump is big, yes. Professional piano. Yo, Steven, I heard some gyms are starting to ban the recordings of the facilities. I understand not liking getting oogled at the gym, but gym clothes seem unnecessarily border inappropriate. Thoughts? I think a lot of the girl gym clothes are pretty inappropriate. I kind of would agree with that. I don't think there should be a banning of recordings in facilities. I feel like the people that call for that are people who just don't go to the gym. There's 2 really important reasons to record. One is because it's nice to record PRs, or it's nice to get feedback on form. And 2 is because a lot of people now do they do remote training. So you might call your trainer, and then you might set your phone up, and I've seen people at the gym do different things with a trainer on the phone. I don't know how you would ever regulate that or ban some things but not the other things. Yeah. What does this guy do? Wait, eye tracking on piano. Oh, this guy looks at the piano. At Destiny, you don't engage well when someone does accurately call you out, like the creator Moosterton for doing React content when you admitted it's stealing on video, so you used humor as deflection. I think React content and pirating is like kind of stealing. It's probably bad. It's just so bad that I don't really care that much about. Like, I don't really think it's that big of a deal. You probably shouldn't do it, but I just don't care about it. Like, you also probably like shouldn't speed. I don't really care much about that either. But like, it's probably bad. I just don't have strong feelings about it one way or the other. He might be looking at the piano more since he's wearing an eye tracker. Oh, maybe.
In looking at the footage, I expect that for the most part, I won't be looking at my hands, but probably just getting reference zones. For the more involved pieces, I will have to at least coordinate where my hands have to go. So I'll look.
In my experience, sheet music is more for reference, but usually you have enough of it memorized to have to sit and sight read every note. Yeah, no, sure. Probably for especially prepared pieces like this, you almost certainly have it memorized because you've practiced these a ton, right?
It was me making a mistake and going, nah.
So you probably are looking at the keyboard. I think even piano players look at their hands on the fretboard sometimes, I think. Okay, so 2 reasons not to do this. Where is Ziana's take? Link me. Oh. This time period is so silly, you don't need a fucking thing strapped to your head to get good. The reactions showcase pure concentrated midwit hype, eagerly wanting to consume techno slop, promising them skill and ability. Jesus. Imagine you see this guy playing piano in public. True. You know what, actually? You know what could be cool? I wonder if Ziana would agree with this. I bet she would. You know what could be cool is having something like this that watches you play and then tracks your mistakes. That would be really cool. And then imagine when you finish, it automatically tells you like which measures you should focus on again. That would actually be cool, I think. You could use that as like learning tool. Even the responses here show the groundless relation people have to learning music. This just preys on our cultural ineptness around skill development, overly reductionist thinking, and bad metaphysical zeitgeist that disempowers
Hello,
individuals.
I've been summoned.
Uh-oh. Hi.
Hello.
Wait, LeMayo dodged for the 4th time. Can't stand to face criticism. Destiny. What am I dodging for the 4th time? Destiny, you literally sucked Lamont off for an hour and a half. You didn't attack him on the many ahistorical claims. Me and you both know he did. We had a decent conversation. I wasn't going to fight him on every single claim. I liked your conversation. Stay mad. Okay, what's up? Is this literally the worst thing? Hold on, I'm reading this fucking losers, this Luddites tweets. One sec.
Yeah, this fucking cuck.
Is this literally the worst thing ever? No, LOL. Is education ever going to be the same? The stupid line presupposes education is ever the same to begin with, which further highlights the reductionist thinking, misunderstanding of teaching education. Gamification. You do not need a screen to make something a game. Why is such a common line of thought? You can create a seemingly infinite amount of fun games for a beginner to play when getting into music spark action from their own intent. AFK going into the gig with my VR goggles on to accompany a vocalist. Okay, what's up?
I was just gonna say, because this thread was really annoying, and I just randomly opened your stream, saw you had it open. I think this would actually be super cool for teaching music theory, like in an applied way, where imagine instead of it telling you exact notes, it projected like a background of like different like scales or different like harmony spaces to play around on. So I think the key point with that is, if you're learning music in that way where literally it's just scrolling down and you're just pressing the thing, you're not really learning to project like any intention into the instrument. And I think it'd be better off, like honestly, for a beginner pianist, if you just blindfold them and just told them to hit notes and find something that sounds cool. So I think that the problem with those things is they take away like multi-stable potentiality, whereas like as a performer or musician, there's like tons of different ways that you could at any point generate what you wanted from your own intention. And with things like that, a beginner doesn't even experience, like, they don't develop a sense for quality necessarily unless throughout doing that they happen to be selecting from their experience properly. Like if they're, it's like the difference between learning how to use a metronome by listening to it or by literally watching like a red light clock. You know, like you don't get the sort of embodied cognition around the phenomena the right way if you're literally visually doing it, as opposed to like receiving it in full auditorily and then manipulating it based on your own intention.
Wow.
So that's my thing with that. Yeah, indeed. So
cool.
Have you been practicing?
Nope. I just got back from traveling for like 12 days.
Where'd you go?
I went to DC, then I went to Vegas, then I went to Boston, then I went to New Haven, Connecticut, then Ithaca, New York, then New York City, then Cincinnati, and now I'm in Miami again.
What the hell? Why were you going so many places? Did you do anything?
Yeah, I talked with Jordan Peterson. I did a podcast with the Iced Coffee Hour. I drove to Yale and Cornell and did political union stuff. I had dinner with my good friend Pisco.
What was your favorite of those events?
What was my favorite of all the events? Probably the Jordan Peterson talk will be big. And then my canvassing, which I'll talk about later, was also cool.
Now it's time for you to practice voicing.
What? Oh yeah, I'll get to that. Have you heard of do you know what a sight word is? Have you ever heard that in terms of learning language?
Sight word.
When Nathan was learning, I'm assuming
that.
this is common because when he was learning this way, I was kind of surprised and I looked it up here. This is kind of common, but when children are first learning to read, they read initially. I'm going to make this number up, but I've heard that like 80% of all conversational language is like 300 words or something like that. So when children are learning to read, initially they'll learn sight words because it helps guide them through. But eventually you want to like actually learn how to, what do you call them, like phenomes or diphthongs or whatever the fuck, all the all the parts of language and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but if we look at the development of language in early childhood development, we see that it comes through in action with the world. So before you even have like what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm not even getting into that. I'm not getting into all of the semantic understanding of the world, blah, blah, blah. I'm just saying that just on learning reading, it's important to have like a higher understanding of all the particular things that go into like enunciating a word past like just learning the basics. And that if somebody were to help you learn full sentences by giving you just like how to sound it. So for instance, if you want to say, I want a chocolate milkshake, and in order to teach the child how to do that, you help them enunciate every single part of that without helping them like learn the words. In the short term, there's going to be a big gain. They'll pull ahead of other people. But in the long term, they've developed no understanding of the actual thing itself, and their ability to progress is going to be stalled, and they're going to have to make a severe retrogression in order to make any progress.
Exactly.
Which is also, so when Xana was talking earlier about like this music stuff, the issue is like you're not to be like a gay theory person or whatever, but like you're really truly learning. This is like less than tabs. You're truly learning nothing about the construction of what's going on here. You're not even learning how to like read rhythm. You're not understanding like the keys you're playing or the relationship from one thing to another. And while you might be able to learn a song or two like pretty conveniently, when you try to move past a certain point, you have no semantic or cognitive understanding of like what it is you've practiced up to this point. And it's like it's going to be like the guitar player that's only played some songs on tabs, and then he shows up to a band and they give him like a key to jam in, and he's like, I don't know what B is. You mean the string that I tune? Like that's it. Yeah. So that's probably the bad part.
For example, Lee and James 2016, along with Kessler 2014, Maginer 2007, etc. There's a lot of this embodied cognition research that shows part of the way that we develop our abilities around anything essentially is through the fact that actuality has so much variation to it. So for example, if we look at training conditions for different embodiment of letter perception, handwriting and initially tracing handwriting early on give the best performance for sort of categorical perception of what's going on. Whereas if you type computer letters, or if you only study computer text fonts, or even if you see multiple fonts on a computer or you use a tablet, those inherently have like less cognitive grounding later on that actually can predict students' outcomes and their ability to do visual spatial reasoning and so forth, because essentially, like, I'll just read this. Even in the most proficient adult writers, each time a letter form is produced, the motor behavior changes as a function of desk height, pen weight, paper roughness, lighting, torso position, and muscle fatigue. And so like when we are first learning letters, we don't really, the point of learning the letters is to write it wrong like thousands of times. And then also, look at some examples of what is right clearly, but you can't produce that. So when you have this musical scrolling thing that's just coming at you and you're just simply pressing the keys as it tells you to, exactly when it tells you to, you're not getting this like process of pushing against form and pushing against the boundaries the whole time. And I think that's one of the most important things that musicians can learn. This is also demonstrated in Goth Year 2006 and Long Camp 2003. And writing letters and perceiving letters, same with creating music like that you want versus receiving music that you want. Those two things block each other cognitively. It's kind of like speech jamming. We see experiments on that. Or if someone tries to improvise and they're very cognitive and they're very conscious and they're thinking about what they need to do, they can't just like let go and improvise as well as someone else. And it has to do with when we are internally thinking about doing an action, we're not directly doing the action. And so if someone's doing this thing by rote, they're not even really like touching the musical thing in a relevant space. I agree with you that it could be really useful to learn your first song ever on, but I think it has to be ditched pretty quickly.
I think the thing that sucks too is if you have somebody with a better understanding of what's going on, like you said, I think there are actually unbelievably powerful ways that you could use these things to assist or augment your ability to learn. So yeah, like having like harmonies or something showing up. Or one thing that I thought would be cool is if you have a song like programmed in and you practice or play through a thing, something that like auto highlights mistakes and then tells you like exactly which parts you need to practice or stuff like that, so that can guide you to learning better rather than just kind of like the worst form of rote memorization on an artistic ability. Yeah. But
like I think that like I said, if you just take a beginner pianist, like so many people who are responding to that, even in my comments and in the original thread, it's like they have this perception that there's like a very specific like rigidness of learning music that has to be followed. And they, people kept accusing me in that thread like, oh, you're saying there's one way to learn music, but it's kind of the opposite. I'm saying that in order to get someone into music, you first have to get them inspired and passionate and like loving music. And the best way to do that is for them to like not just sit there and stay within a stepping in other people's footsteps. Like I think that there's a million different ways you could approach it. That's certainly a path you could take. You could literally just have someone close their eyes and try to play notes that sound good to them, or find two things they like. You could give a beginner 3 different notes on the keyboard and just tell them to just hold the sustain pedal down and play them how they think sounds cool. Like it shouldn't be about being super restrictive. And ironically, when you say it shouldn't be about being super restrictive in a way that seems like you're making a restrictive statement, but in reality it's a statement that supports an expansion of actions rather than a reduction and compression of one action. So
wow.
Yep. Okay.
Well,
have a great day.
Be careful.
Yep. I'm gonna go record drums.
Yep.
Okay.
Bye. I have 2 other things open. What is this?
Spreadsheet of like.
Oh, wait, did we watch this on stream or did I just watch this off stream?
Then reverse the roles then. What if I had a spreadsheet of like girls I've been with, their performance, like the shape and like where on the thing and like fucking like boob shape and everything around it and whatnot. It's just fucking weird. Like, oh yeah, that was like a battle scarred minus. Like,
so you take that the spreadsheet is fine, but sharing it with people is unhinged. I think that the spreadsheet is fine, but sharing it with people with names attached, I think is weird. Like, because, am I making this up? I thought I saw the original clip. Didn't one of the people recognize people on the list? Am I making that up? Or?
That was like super pepperoni salami. Like, what the fuck? Like grip tier, grip reaper. Like, what?
Yeah, Cutie did and laughed. Oh God, that's so hypocritical if that's true. Do you think talking about sex with uninvolved people is weird? No, I just think that like naming like, hey, you know this friend that you have, like this is what his dick looks like, I think is a little bit strange. Although girls do this shit all the time already. which nobody talks about, but I don't even know necessarily how much I care about that. I just think I'm irritated because I know that if it was the opposite, it would be immediately chastised. In the clip, no one said they recognize someone. Oh, okay, maybe I made that up. If you don't know anybody, I don't think it matters that much, but I still think people would cry if it was a guy talking about girls.